In this quick tutorial, I want to show you how to spice up your coffee dyed papers. So lately I've had a lot of fun experimenting with coffee dyeing my papers, and if you would like to see how I make more like these kind of papers here, just keep on watching. Welcome, it's Barbara from Vienna, Austria. Whether you are a beginner or a seasoned junk journal crafter, everyone dyes their papers differently. And since I have had so much fun these last few days making these, I thought it would only be fair to show you how I do these. If this is too messy for you, you can also find some of these linked below in my shop. However, I would like to encourage you to experiment on your own, because then your papers will be really unique and it's such a fun process. So let me show you the different types that I have here. We have a similar color scheme, as you can probably see. And I can already tell you there's nothing complicated about this. There's no boiling things or weird dyes that are hard to get. No, this is really super simple. So the first kind are these, which are watercolor and coffee splatters. So obviously I haven't dyed the whole sheet, and I think this just gives so much interest on the page. I did try on some of these to add some fine grained salt. You can see it here, but I would advise, well, I don't know, the effects are actually pretty cool. I would have said use the bigger salt grains, but actually, looking at this again now, I do think this comes out pretty cool as well. So these are some of these. These, I'll show you how to get these like darker spots. It's very easy. Here we have more of those darker spots. A lot of them here. Some here and some here. Then the next type is this type. So here you see these kind of spots. So these all are made with the same technique. And this is actually just the rougher kind of salt. Super cool patterns here. I just love this. And I really love how the paper isn't completely drenched in coffee. I love when there's white peeking through. And this here also gives an amazing texture. It's really rough here, which is not good for writing, but you could still like collage or do other things on it other than writing. For those kind of things, I guess the digital versions are better, because obviously there you will have the smooth paper. Okay, so that's that type. Then we have these. I think these are super fun. Then there's these. These might be my favorites. Really think these are cool. And these are not stencils. These are actually die cuts, which I think work a lot better than stencils. I don't know if anyone else has done that before. I haven't seen it anywhere, but I love the effect. So here it is with a little bit of gold, and I'll show you how I do that. These are really cool, I think. And here's again some gold. And the backs actually usually look very interesting too. They're obviously not as dark, but they also have the patterns, and I love that. And lastly, we have the mixture of the dyes. Although these dyes didn't work super well, but still they are fun with some different kind of splattering. Here you can hardly see, but there is a heart. There's a dragonfly. And these didn't come out so well either on the sides, but still it does add interest. It is kind of fun as well. So let's do this. To mix my coffee, I usually take the cheapest instant coffee that I can find. This one happens to be from a supermarket chain called Penny. And I'll put it in a container, maybe something like this. I don't have exact measurements for you, but I would say in a container like this, which is, I don't know, how much is this? Maybe half a liter. I don't know how much that is in ounces, I'm sorry. It's maybe like 2 cups, I would say. I would put in maybe 2 heaped spoons of this, but it's a very personal choice how dark you want your coffee mixture, so that is definitely worth experimenting with. And I also then put some in a spray bottle, which is what I'm gonna use today mostly, but not for everything. And this one I got from IKEA like a year ago or even more. So these are very inexpensive and great, but of course you can get these from any like probably dollar store, and if you're in the US, or any other discount store, household store, they would have these. I suggest we start out with these here with the salt. These are very cool effects. So let's make some more of these. So I'm just gonna start off by spraying these with my coffee mixture. And of course, depending on if you want your papers to be stained completely, you could do more, and you could also of course dip it in a pan if you would rather do that. But I really love this effect here with spraying them. And as you can see, I'm not spraying everything. And then I'm going to add some watercolor as well. I have a tiny palette here. You can use any watercolors. These here are very strongly pigmented, which is why I like using these here. And these are, okay, I actually cannot read the brand right now, but I will put it in the description box if you want to know. These are artist grade, so they are very pigmented. So if you don't have artist grade watercolors, you just use your regular watercolors and you just add a bit more. I just use my regular watercolor cup. Usually I do this on my living room floor, but that's kind of hard to film. So I'm gonna take the color I want. In this case, it's this beautiful turquoise, and then I'll just dilute it in the water. And the water is the one I'm going to be using. But that also depends how dark you want your spots. I don't want them too dark, and they will lighten up a lot when they dry. So that's all I do. I already had some in here, so it's all trial and error. So I'm gonna put this back, and then I'll just put these on. You don't need a fanned brush like this. You can do it with any kind of brush, or you can even do it with your fingers. So I just put it on. And now for the cool effect, I just take some rough grained salt. This is a very normal salt you can get at any supermarket. And all you're gonna do is sprinkle some bits on your page, especially where the puddles are. And what happens is the salt will soak up the liquid, and that's how you get those cool effects. And depending on how many grains you put, the effect will be different. I kind of like well, I like both actually. I was gonna say I like the effect better when there's not so many grains, when you can see the individual grains, but I also actually love it when there's like a cluster. So I'll do that for both of these. And once these have dried, you will see, I'll show you how I take it off. you can just wipe them off very easily, and you can even reuse the grains if you want to. So I'm gonna set these aside to dry, and then we'll do some more. And by the way, this newspaper looks the way it looks because these are sheets I always use to dry my coffee stained papers in my living room. I don't have a garden, balcony or anything like that, so I have everything laying out all over my living room floor in my flat. So yeah, this is what they're always on. They have a beautiful sound. And I think it kind of helps stain the papers on the back side because they already have all these stains here, and they kind of just add because they kind of just merge with the wet paper, if that makes any sense. So I thought, let's try an envelope. Why not? I haven't actually done any of these techniques with envelopes, and maybe let's try it with the fine salt this time. So I'm actually going to spray both sides because since we have two sides and it won't go through, I do want to stain this side as well. I'm going to do the same thing. I love adding a bit of color. I wish the color would stay more, but it really fades out quite a bit once it's dry. And then I have some regular salt, table salt. So let's just add that, especially to where the puddles are. And we'll see what that looks like once it's dry. Next, let's do some like these here. By the way, this is regular copy paper that I have here, A4 size. And those I did with these kind of stencils. Actually, I want to change the direction of my paper because thinking of how they're going to be in a journal, I'm going to have them folded. So I want my images to be looking like this rather than like this. So I wish I could tell you where I have these from, but I've had them forever and I really don't remember. This was still in my art journaling times many years ago, so I apologize. I'm gonna have this one come down like this, and we'll have this one maybe more here. And all you do is like with the regular stencils, we're just gonna do this, and then I'll also spray some of the edges, and again add some blue green. And if you want to get some of these cool darker spots, all you do is you take your instant coffee and you do the same thing as with the salt. You just sprinkle it on. Don't do too much because it gets very dark very quickly. So it's better to just have a few. That's too much. Right there, that's going to be a huge dark spot. So try to keep your hand light when you're sprinkling these on. Okay, I'm going to move this aside and we'll do something else. I haven't actually tried this one before, but let's just try it. This is some super nice script here. I also don't know if I can still find it. If I can, I will link it for you below, but at this point I don't even remember where it's from. So here again, I have to keep in mind that I'm not just going to do this, which would be easy, but I need my page to go this way. So if I do it here and then I do it again here, this, oh, actually, what am I doing? Let's cover up the one part. So we'll put it here. I want the bigger font because it starts small and then goes bigger towards the bottom. So I want this, and because I don't want this sprayed yet, because I want to have some more script there. I'm just going to put another paper under it so that it stays white. So let's spray through this. I'm looking forward to this one. I guess you can't spray too much, otherwise I think the coffee will spread everywhere and then you won't see the letters. So I'm gonna have to really be careful. I might have already put too much, we shall see. But now if I lift it, it's gonna have some underneath. I can't lift it. We're gonna leave this, and this is just gonna be a smaller piece of paper. Because if I lift it now, obviously the effect isn't going to be there until it's dry. So what you could do is let it dry and then move it over to this side and then do the whole thing again. But that just seems like it's going to take forever. So I'm just going to do this side. Next, let me show you how to do some of these fun ones. Don't you just love that sound? That makes me happy. So for this, I take my coffee and I take it straight from my cup. And this is actually the most fun, but the most messy. So all I do is I take my fingers and I dip them in here and then I splatter it on, but not just letting it drip down, but kind of like in a swaying motion. So let me see if I can show you. So I'm just putting my hand, and then I go like this so that you have these kind of splatters, which is a really cool effect, I think. But yeah, it can get messy. And you can't get that with a brush. And then let's add some of the turquoise again. And if you don't want to do this with watercolors or you don't have watercolors, you can also do the same thing with acrylic paints. You just put some on a palette, thin it down with water, and then splash it onto your pages. It works as well. I've done that too. It's going to be a very funky page. And maybe we try this technique on a recycled envelope as well. Just move that to the side. This you can always cover up. You could also first completely dye your envelope, and then once it's completely dry, you make the splatters. That also looks kind of cool. Actually, yeah, that wasn't so smart because I should have first done the back side, because of course I want it on the back side as well. So the front side isn't going to be as nice. That's okay. It's all a fun experiment. I just love this combination of the coffee with the turquoise. Is my absolute favorite at the moment. All right, I'm gonna take these to dry. Then let's do something like this. This has gold and the die cuts. So let's try that. So those are done simply with using die cuts, basically like stencils. So for example, this here is this, and this I can link for you. It's from AliExpress. It's a pain to use as a die cut because some of these holes are so intricate that I can never get the little pieces out. It is worth the effort, I guess, when I do it because it looks awesome, but it's much easier to use like this. And this here is not quite as nice, but still pretty cool, which is this one. And I think I can link this one as well. Another thing that, or another die cut that I think really looks cool is this one here. So that's this one, and I can link that for you as well. It's also AliExpress. What else? This one is a hit and miss. Doesn't always come out nice. That is this one here. The dragonfly here is also kind of like a hit and miss. That's this one. What I really love are these circles and these hearts, which are these here. So these are the circles and these are the hearts. If I can, I will link these for you as well. They are super fun. They come in a set of 4 actually, like this. So please go through your die cuts and see which ones might work. Some might be better than others. So I definitely want to show you this one. Again, I want to turn my paper sideways because I have to think about how it will be in the journal. So maybe on this side. And on the other side, I also really love these round ones, which are of course meant to be like frames or something. But they are super fun. they look like this. A little more delicate. And then these here are my paper flowers, which come in different sizes as well. So there's a few of these. And I also want to try, then on the next page, I want to try maybe something that I haven't tried yet. I have a few dies where I think, yeah, we could try them. And I always put them face down. I don't know if it makes a difference, but I just want the more intricate part to be on the paper. So I'm gonna do this, or maybe let's do a half circle here, like that. And I just do exactly the same thing. I will just spray it. And don't worry about your dies getting all coffee stained, because you can very simply rinse them afterwards and everything will come out. Also, if you add watercolor, obviously both are water soluble, so you can get rid of it very easily. So let's add some gold paint to this. I have tried it both with using this metallic acrylic paint and using this deep gold Van Gogh watercolor paint. It's a number 803. I think both are nice. Let's just, I don't know, let's do it with the acrylic this time, because last time we used the watercolor. So I'm just gonna put a little bit here on my palette. That was way too much. I already cleaned my water here. So this is fresh water. And now I just want to really dilute this well. You can do this either when the coffee is still wet, or you can do it afterwards once it has completely dried, and both effects will be different. You will see. So if it's wet, the paint will spread more, and if it's dry, you'll see like these dots. I don't know if I have enough water on here. We'll just try it. Yeah. You can't see it now on camera because it's hard to see. It looks very similar to the coffee, but you'll hopefully see it when it's dry. So that's all I do for the gold splattering. So let me move this aside. Let's try some that I haven't tried before. So for example, I think this one might be cute. Let's put that on a corner. Or maybe we could even put a frame around it. That one's too small. I don't know if there's any point in that. Just trying different things. I don't know how well a thin frame like this is gonna work. Might not show up too much, but that's okay. And then why don't we try one of these? That might be fun. Like right in the middle of my half page, kind of. Let's use some more of this gold. I must say the watercolor I find is a bit easier to apply, because this acrylic, of course, is a little bit thicker. So I think for splatters, the watercolor might work a bit better, but you know, whatever you have, don't go out getting new things for this. Just play with what you have already. Let's do another envelope. This time I'll finally remember to do the back first. Okay, now which ones should we take for this? We could add this one, which would be like kind of a label, like an ad, you know, for an address or something. Obviously I'm not going to mail this, but might look cute. And then maybe we take this here. Anything else? I don't know. Let's just play and have fun. And for this one, we could add some more watercolor spots, maybe once it's dry, to show you that will look different. So I'm just gonna leave this one as it is for now. And obviously we can do the same with book pages. I think we need one fairy. Always need fairies. Then I want to try this film one. I think this one is so cool. Let's add another circle. Let's try the hearts. Interestingly, this butterfly never kind of worked out. You would think it works out well because it's so solid, but somehow this just doesn't want to play along. Oh, we need the dragonfly, of course. Okay. You can try just spraying some just with a little bit like this, and then you can try to saturate another one more, and then you'll see what you like better. I want to add some more watercolor splatters to these, and I want to try this color here, which kind of looks like a sepia. I can't read it, what it actually says, but this color right here. And I don't know if we'll actually see a lot of it because it's very similar to the coffee, but I want to try it anyway. I'm dipping my brush in the water that has some of the gold that I just rinsed off in here, meaning it has a tiny bit of sparkles here as well. I don't know if we're going to see those or not. So this is going to be more intense than the turquoise that we used before, because actually I'm going to splatter it from my brush rather than taking the much diluted watercolor from my water container. Ooh, wow, this is very dark. Ooh, this might be very cool. I like it. Was not expecting that. We'll let these dry as well. So there are no limits to what you can do, only in your imagination. So I'll show you all of these once they are. It is now quite a few hours later and it's time for the big reveal. I am so curious. Let's start off with these book pages because I just left these here on my desk. I have not touched anything. Okay, so this you can't see very well. I mean, the page still looks cool, but you can't really see. Yeah, and you can't tell this is a fairy. So these didn't turn out so great. Let's see the hearts. Yeah, this one you can see nicely. This one hardly at all. These two, yeah. So they don't work that well on the book pages, interestingly. You'd have to know what that is to see it. And the dragonfly, oh, that turned out quite cool, I must say. I really like how that one came out. Let's look at some of the other papers. So these were the ones where we just splattered the coffee with our hands like this. So I think that looks really cool. There's no blue on this side because we didn't do that. I can still drip some on now. And that is our A4 paper. So the coffee went through, but not the watercolor. Interesting too. So this was the one with the stenciling, and you see the really dark spots are where I had put the coffee on top. That is not even dry yet after a few hours. So that came out pretty cool, but needs more drying time. Really like that. This is the envelope we did where we added the fine-grained salt. I just rubbed it off now with my finger. Really like how this turned out. Looks very groovy. This is the back side. Here are the two with the rough sand, or the coarse sand. What am I saying? Salt. So we can easily take these off. They just rub right off. really, really cool pattern. Love this. And there's the other one. So for example, this would be a single salt grain, and these are where I had a lot of them clustered together. Here you maybe see it a little bit better. So here we have the single ones, and here and here and here were the clusters. So this one I'm super curious about. I have not picked yet. Wow, how awesome is this? I did not think this would come out this well. Oh my goodness, I love this. I will definitely be making more of these. Wow. Ha, love it. This is the one with the gold splatters. So let's first check out these round ones. Yes, these are cute. The big one you can hardly see, but these two are awesome. Oh, yes, 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 yes. That came out really well. And there you see the gold. I love this. Beautiful. So then we had this envelope. Yeah, you can kind of see them. The clocks a little bit. And the label. Yeah, not sure I would do the label again. And on this one, I was going to add some more splatters, so I'll do that in a moment. And finally, we have this one. I love this. So these were the ones that I hadn't tried myself either yet. Yeah, you can kind of see the square. This is kind of cool. So this one again has the gold splattering. So remember, these are the ones we did with the acrylic paint. Love this one too. How fun. So let's add some splatters to this here. I'm going to use my turquoise, or you know what? I'm going to mix it with this beautiful sepia-ish color. Just to show you the difference. So these splatters are going to stay as small as they are here, as opposed to when I added drops here, they'd completely spread out because the surface was wet. So that's the difference, whether you put it on wet or dry surfaces. And now I just wanted to show you how cool they would look mixed in with other coffee dyed paper. So I just very quickly put together this little signature here. So these are the ones that we've just done now. And this is like a regular coffee stain paper. Although these things here, if you haven't seen that video, I have another video of coffee staining with these and with these. So I will link that video for you below as well. So you could do exactly what I have here. Look how cool this looks in between other papers. And of course, then if you would add book pages as well, or other vintage documents, how cool would this look? I just adore this. This is so, so nice. I would probably tear the edges on a lot of these. That's the one we just made, also with the gold. This is the one with the salt, the fine grains, I think this was. That was our junk mail envelope. Obviously, I would cover this up. There's the other side. You could obviously add some more watercoloring here if you wanted more. You could also add a little more watercolor splatters maybe to some of these to make them all cohesive, but you don't have to. And that would be the back side. So how fun is this? I just love it. This is future Barbara just popping in before I end this video. So I need your input. I am super excited about a new and very different monthly series that I have planned, which I hope you will be just as excited about once you hear what I have planned. So I'm going to host a podcast-like series in which I will have junk journal creators join me for a discussion around the topic of junk journaling. This is where I need your input, so please leave a comment below this video with any topics you would be interested in. These could be questions like, where do you get your inspiration from? Or how do you deal with overwhelm? Or maybe how has junk journaling impacted your life? So I'm looking for something along those lines. The questions should be related to the junk journaling craft. And the questions that get the most likes down below in the comments will be the ones considered for the first podcast episode. And the first prominent guests on my new show will be none other than Joey DeFee and Tina from Shabby Dabby Doodah. They will also ask their viewers for input on topics on their own channels. And together, the three of us will then decide on which of these most requested topics we will discuss in a recorded Zoom session, which I'm planning on posting here on my channel within the next few weeks. So keep a lookout for that. So here's back to original Barbara. So it's your time to go and play. And if you don't want to go and play, you can check them out in my shop. It's probably easier, but of course yours would be yours and they would be unique. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you back here in the next one. Love you guys. Mwah! Mwah!